Hey guys, Zer here. It took longer than I originally planned, but I'm finally getting around to answering your questions from my 500 sub Q&A video. I actually got a decent amount of them, although some are kind of random or just joke questions, but that's perfectly fine by me. I'm going to be answering them mostly in chronological order, although I've moved around a few for convenience. I'm also going to apologize ahead of time if I horribly butcher some of your names. These answers are more or less going to be unrehearsed, even though I've taken some time to roughly think them out. With that said, here we go. The first question comes from bobbytheletsplayer, who asks, are you going to do any more choose your own nightmare games? And the short answer is yes, I will be doing more, but the long answer is that there are only so many left that I haven't done, which the two being Bite of the Vampire and How I Became a Freak, and they're kind of hard to find, at least for the PC. I'm always checking Amazon and eBay for them, but they don't always show up, and if they ever do, I think I saw How I Became a Freak on there, but it was only the PAL version, and I don't know if that would have any issues playing on my computer here, so I avoided it. So I'm always looking, and they do randomly pop up from time to time, at least that's how the other ones did. So hopefully I'll get to them eventually. I'm always saving them also for Halloween. I've done them for, I think, the last 3 years now, and people seem to still like them, so I'll keep doing them for as long as I can. And the worst case is that if I can't get a new one for this year's Halloween, I could always just show some of the extra routes from some of the games that I've already done. So one way or another, yes, you should see more of those at some point, but most likely around Halloween. The next one is from JackBurstein, who doesn't actually have a question, he's just being a smartass. I actually know Jack in real life, so it doesn't surprise me that he decided to post something like this, so fuck you, Jack. I'll see you in hell, and let's move on. This question comes from BlueKai, who asks, what's your favorite SNES game? Now, there's a lot to choose from, and I know some people might say things like Chrono Trigger or Final Fantasy III, and those are great games, and I love Chrono Trigger and all that, but I gotta go with Mega Man X. I gotta go with that because it's the one game that I played over and over again as a kid, and I never got tired of it. And even now, if I had to choose one game to play for the Super Nintendo, it would be Mega Man X, and it would still be fun for me. It's probably my favorite game of all time, for all the other systems included, although that's a little harder to decide on, because there's a lot of good games on the Nintendo and the 64 and all that, but for Super Nintendo, I gotta go with Mega Man X. If you haven't watched Eagle Raptor's sequelitis video for it, then you should watch that, and you'll see why. But yeah, that's my favorite one. These questions come from RayLegend33, who asked several questions, so we're just gonna go down in order. The first one is my favorite food. It's definitely soup. I like almost any kind of soup. My favorites are like chicken noodle, or if we're talking about Japanese noodles, I like udon, specifically beef. Which is pretty much like it became a joke with my friends that of all the salt intake I always get, so I always get a lot of crap from them about that, but I don't care, I love soup. My favorite drink is soda, specifically Coke. I like either Coca-Cola or Pepsi. I don't really care. As a kid, I couldn't tell the difference between the two. Now I know that there's a slight difference, but ultimately it's negligible. Either one's fine with me. That's pretty much all I care to drink. I only drink water or Gatorade if I'm like desperate, but so I go with soda. My favorite game, I kind of already went over that for like the Super Nintendo. It's Mega Man X. It's probably my favorite game of all time. It's kind of hard to pick one for all time, but if it was all time, I'd have to choose between Mega Man 2 or Mega Man X. It's a real hard, coin toss for whichever one, but we'll just leave it at that. My favorite non-video game would probably be poker. It's kind of hard for me to pick something that's non-video game. But I'd say we'll go with poker. I remember when I was waiting until I was 21 to be able to play, I would play online poker for, fake free money to, just to get some practice. Once I hit 21, I actually was able to go to the casinos and actually play, and, I don't get to play nearly as often as I used to, but it's definitely one of my favorites. Do I play League of Legends? At least I'm pretty sure that's what you're asking. No, I don't. I did play Dota just a tiny bit, years ago. At least my friends showed it to me. I tried it for a bit. I just wasn't any good at it, and League of Legends is pretty much just like Dota. It's the same kind of game. Dota came first. So no, I don't play. I like watching people who are good at it play though, because I like sitting watching my friends, or if like my brother was playing whatever when he plays StarCraft. I like watching good players play those kind of games because it's interesting to watch. I just can't do it myself. My favorite console, it's kind of hard to choose, but I guess I'd have to go with the Nintendo 64 just because of the multiplayer. As many good games as there are on the Nintendo and the Super Nintendo, the 64 had its share of good games. Like Mario 64, I freaking loved that game. The Mario Party games, when they first came out, we played the crap out of those. Smash Brothers, I mean, you know, the first one, it's hard to go back to the first one now, the old controls, but I mean, for the time, we played the crap out of that one. And GoldenEye, Perfect Dark, just all those really good multiplayer games really made the 64 just awesome like that. So for the multiplayer, I gotta go with the 64. Do I like anime? Yes, I do. I've watched a ton of different animes. I don't watch nearly as much anymore. I just, one, kind of don't have as much time, and two, just, it's not that I've lost interest, it's just, I don't watch it nearly as much anymore. Not like I was completely obsessed with it like I was at first. Some of my favorites are like Detective Conan, which is an ongoing one, or like a regular one would be Full Metal Panic, which I'm still waiting for another freaking season of that. I'm wondering what the hell that is. We actually, my brother and I and some of my friends, we get together usually about once a week. We meet at my brother's apartment, and we actually have like an anime night for like 2 hours. We watch some anime together, some new stuff, some older stuff, you know, some comedy stuff, some more action things, whatever, you know, whatever everyone kind of feels like watching. Let's see, what else? What is your favorite Toho character? Well, that should be obvious by now. It's Sakuya, of course. I mean, I only have it like everywhere on my channel whenever I do videos like this and such, or just, you know, my icon and everything. But why? She's a time-stopping maid who throws knives, and what I like is that she's one of the few human characters, yet she can compete with all the yokai and all the demons and everything else. Pretty much like all the human characters I really like, but she's obviously my favorite one. So we'll just leave it at that, because I could go on forever about her. Do you like Warcraft? Yes, I do. I mean, the old Warcraft 1, 2, and 3. Grew up playing on those along with all the other Blizzard games. I never really got to play World of Warcraft though. My computer couldn't run it. I remember a friend once brought it over to test it on my computer to see if I could run it, and well, yeah, I could run it at 1 frame a second, and that wasn't even in the capital. I was just out nearby somewhere, and I'm looking at the ground, and I'm still getting 1 frame a second, but that was on obviously a really bad computer. But, and I've already long since missed the opportunity to play with my friends, so, and also I didn't want to, you know, pay a monthly fee and all that, but yes, I do like it, I just never really got too much into it, actually playing it. Do you play card games? If so, which ones? As I already mentioned, I like playing poker, but I like playing a lot of other card games, a lot of ones that people know, like Spades, Hearts, Pinochle. There's a Filipino game called Soy Dos. It's kind of quirky, but, I mean, my friends and I, during lunchtime at school, back in high school, we used to play card games all the time during lunch, either in the hallway or in one of the classrooms or wherever. But yeah, I love playing card games. Let's see, do you enjoy imagining your own little world where everything is perfect? Yes, I do, but unfortunately the world isn't perfect, and I don't think it ever will be, so that's just wishful thinking. And last but not least, do you like music? Well, of course I like music, but to be a little more specific, I guess, maybe with the genres, I grew up on old school R&B because my dad is a musician, and as well as all my uncles as well, so our family grew up on music. So old school R&B, like Michael Jackson, my brother and I, we grew up listening to that all the time. As I got older, my interests changed, of course, or just more like added on to it. Kind of got into some techno. My brother got me into anime music, specifically one of them was Initial D. Really liked the music from that. And it wasn't until about high school that a friend of mine got me into rock music. I like all kinds of rock, just rock, alternative, metal, I like, you know, Iron Maiden, who else? Shoot, it's escaping me at the moment, but I remember the first CD that I ever listened to, or that I got into from my friend was Hoobastank's CD. Shoot, I forget which one it was called. But I remember whenever I would ride with him, he would sometimes ask me to pick out a CD from his collection thing to put in. And of course, I always put in that CD. He kind of got sick of it because I did that. But I don't know. You know, it's his fault. I got into rock music because of him. And then more recently, although I've been listening to it for years now, Super Eurobeat, which is the music that Initial D comes from, or Initial D gets its music from that mostly. Yeah, and just all kinds of other music too. I don't really listen to like rap or country or like anything like that though, but whatever, yeah, I like music. And there you go. Oh, and of course, I love J-pop too, even though my brother definitely likes that more. You can tell by his name. I love J-pop too, although that kind of fits in with anime music, but anyways. Next is from MrSandwichface, who couldn't think of one because Ray Legend took a bunch of them, but eventually came up with one later, which is, are you a brony? No, I'm not, but I don't have a problem with bronies or anything like that. A couple of my friends at school actually showed me some videos for that, and I thought they were funny, but, I mean, I wouldn't call myself one, so no, I'm not, but, you know, hey, I don't have a problem with it. These next questions come from Broken Thumbs, who ask, what's your dream job? It's kind of hard to say now. As a kid growing up, I always thought I wanted to be a video game tester. I'm sure a lot of other kids thought that too. I mean, I wanted to just play video games, you know, all the time for a living, and now, of course, you know that it's not that easy, it's not that simple. There's a lot more to it than just playing video games. But, you know, as a kid, you know, come on. But, you know, that passed. And then at one point I wanted to be a scientist. I thought that it would be really cool because I like doing little experiments all the time, although mostly it was just me kind of playing around with stuff. But, you know, the idea seemed cool. And one of my favorite subjects is chemistry, so I still love science. But, I don't know. Now it would probably have to do something with computers. I mean, that's what I'm going to school for computer science, so probably something along the lines of as a programmer. I don't know exactly. What is your next project? If you're talking about LP-wise, I never exactly know what I'm going to do next. I mean, like, I have a list of ideas for things I know I eventually want to get to, or might want to try somewhere down the line, but I never know exactly what I'm going to do after one is done, because sometimes I'll have an idea for what I'm going to try next, and then I'll suddenly think of another game, and just change my mind and shift to that one instead, so it's kind of haphazard. I never really know what I'm going to do next. Do you play TF2 and have a Steam account? I have played TF2, but I think it was only just once. It was years ago, back during one of the weekends. I think it was like open beta or whatever. It was free to play just for that weekend to give it a try. And I was at a friend's house and I got to play it some. My favorite character was the medic. I mean, I like playing the game, but I don't play it now, even though it's free to play. I just don't play it now for whatever reason. I'm always playing other stuff and whatnot. But so yes, I do have a Steam account, and if so, can I add you as a friend? I'm not opposed to adding people that I know onto my Steam account. I'm not going to publicly post it here, just because I try to keep like my other stuff separate from my YouTube things. And but if it's like someone like, say, Broken Thumbs, who I've known for a while, you know, someone I know, like, yeah, you know, you can add me. I can add you to my Steam. Even though I'm not on there, honestly, that much. I rarely play. The only thing I've played recently is like Left 4 Dead 2. Sometimes I'm on there just randomly to chat with some of my friends, but I'm not on there too often. But yeah, so if you want to add me and I know you, just send me a message, because otherwise I'll forget, and I can give you my Steam ID there. So yeah. These next ones come from Jwcsh. I don't know if there's any way I'm supposed to pronounce that, considering there are no vowels in it, but anyways. If you were an anime character, what would your backstory be, and what unnatural color would your hair be? Honestly, I don't know. It's kind of hard to come up with a backstory. I mean, I could pick something cliche like, I lost my parents in some tragic accident as a kid, and I've long since forgotten, and I grew up to be the pilot of some kind of mech, and like whatever kind, like I don't care, as long as I could blow shit up, I think that's what I would want to do, and I would be awesome at it too. And what unnatural color? I'd probably go with something like blue. If you wanted to torture someone, would you use electricity or Siberia 2? I would use both. I would make them play Siberia 2, and every time they failed, I would zap them with electricity. And considering that they would be dying a lot in that game, they would be getting zapped a lot. Want to play on Xbox Live sometime? I actually don't have an Xbox. I only have the Wii. My brother has the PS3. It kind of got to be that way after a certain point. I started to get all the Nintendo stuff, like the GameCube, the Wii, the DS, and he got the Sony stuff, the PS2, PS3, and the PSP. Neither of us ever had the Xbox or the 360, which kind of sucks because I actually do like the 360 now, and all my other friends have it and they're all on live, and I'm like the only one who's not, so that kind of sucks. And lastly, has anyone ever stolen your precious thing? Obviously referring to Toho. And yes, the only one to ever steal it was Marissa. But what that precious thing was, I'll leave it up to your imagination. These questions are from PowerPup97, who asks, do you think McKids on the NES is an unfairly underrated game? I honestly can't say because I've never actually played it myself. I mean, I've seen the video from the Angry Video Game Nerd about it. But honestly, it didn't look that bad, so probably. Number 2, are you a fan of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic? I kinda already went over this with the whole brony thing. But am I a fan? No, but I don't have anything against it either. Number 3, what is your favorite video game genre? If I would have to go with like my all-time favorite, or like a long-running one, it would be the puzzle adventure genre. Specifically the old point-and-click adventure games like Myst. Because I had a period of time where that's all I ever wanted to really play, and I have a whole collection of those games, and it kind of sucks that genre has died out, or at least that specific kind. I mean, times have changed, I know, but it'll probably, you know, always be my favorite. Number 4, what is your favorite animal? Gotta be cats. I actually have 4 cats. We used to have 5. Second would be dogs. We also have a dog. But yeah, definitely cats. I love cats, and they're just, it's so unfair because I think that they're just such cute little bastards even when they don't do anything. Just them sleeping somewhere looks cute. I don't know, it's just, it's unfair. Number 5, do you have a favorite Disney movie, preferably from pre-1989? I can't remember if this is before then or not, but there's a lot to choose from because, I mean, my brother and I, we grew up watching all the Disney movies, or at least a lot of them. I'd probably have to go with Little Mermaid. I think that might have been the one we watched the most. I don't know. Why? I don't know either. Maybe just the musical numbers in it. I don't know. I mean, a lot of the old school Disney movies were awesome. So we'll just say Little Mermaid. This question comes from NudeRockENT or NudeRockENT. I'm not sure which way I'm supposed to say it. What do you look like? Please provide a vivid description or an actual photo because I'm dying to know. This is kind of a funny question because it's like I've always kept my face a secret, especially when I was first starting out. Of course, it didn't really matter back then because I was just starting. But for me, it's just kind of a weird thing. Because like when I've watched an LPer for so long, all I associate with them is their voice. I've become so used to it. And then once I finally have a face to match to it, it's just kind of weird. But I'm not going to say that I'm never going to show my face ever. But not right now. Maybe at some point I'll do some kind of like special reveal. I don't know. Who knows? I mean, you guys have seen at least me partially in some of like my phone video stuff where you can see part of my body, but you never actually get to quite see, you know, like my head and the whole thing. But yeah, just to give you guys a little something at least. I am half Filipino, quarter white, quarter Japanese. Obviously the quarter white is not exact, it's like a mixture of a few little things here and there, but essentially it's a quarter white. I get the Filipino from my dad's side, and the white and Japanese from my mom. I am about 5'6", 124 pounds, give or take. Pretty skinny. I'm someone who went into high school weighing 60 pounds, I shit you not. I've always been skinny, and it took forever to break 5 feet. But yeah, I'm not gonna give away too much because then I think it'll spoil the surprise if I ever actually show you guys. So I'll just leave it at that for now. This comes from Kamoodle5, who doesn't actually have a question, but brings up some old stuff like my Bart's Nightmare LP, and it's kind of funny because it's my most viewed LP, and I don't really get why. Whenever I look back on that one, I would say it was bad, but I think I could have done a better job with it. Especially if I had known that it was going to be viewed as much as it was. And I also used save states, but it was one of my early ones, and I just didn't really care back then. It's kind of hard for me to watch any of my older stuff because of how I was compared to how I am now. You can definitely tell the difference, but at the same time, I wouldn't get rid of it or anything because it's kind of nice to have that comparison. You can see how I was when I first started out, and I was a lot quieter back then, just because I wasn't as comfortable with it. Although, I think I also didn't swear as much back then, but if you guys are still watching me now, you kind of know that's just the thing I do. But, you know, either way, people seem to enjoy them enough, so, you know, whatever, that's fine. These questions are from DOSBoot1, who asks, what type of games do you like to play? Well, it's kind of a loaded question because there are so many types that I like to play. But just to randomly list off some, there's like old style arcade games, beat 'em ups, hack and slash, Smash Brothers, platformers, Mario, carnival shooters, flying shoot 'em ups, survival horror like Resident Evil, puzzle adventures or just straight up puzzle games, RPG, both turn-based and real-time, simulation games like The Sims or SimCity, racing games, music and rhythm games like DDR and Guitar Hero, and even card games like the old Pokemon trading card game years ago, and Yu-Gi-Oh! And stuff like that. What ones don't you like? I would say that there aren't really too many that I don't like, just maybe ones that I don't really play that much. Like fighting games, it's not that I dislike them, I'm just not any good at them, so I don't really play them. My brother's way better, so I just like watching him play. First-person shooters, again, it's not like I don't like them, I just don't really play that many. I think I pretty much stopped like really playing those like back in the days of the old Counter-Strike, the original, before Source and all that. Nowadays, I really don't play that many. I'd say though, of all of them, probably sports are the only ones that I might say that I don't like. All of them except for like hockey, because I actually got into hockey a couple of years ago, so I actually like playing some of those games. Just because I just don't really care for sports in general. Before that, the only like game I would ever play was the NFL Blitz on 64, just because that game was fun even if you were bad at it, because like, oh, your opponent scored a touchdown, well, I'm still gonna jump on your player and pound on him. So even when you were losing, you could have fun with it. You know, it wasn't a serious sports game, because that's how most of them are nowadays. There's a lot of the big ones, they're super serious and they're much more realistic, and it's just really not my thing. And last, what games do you play when you aren't LPing? Well, a lot of the things that I play, the kind of games that I play for LPs, are the kind of stuff that I play outside of it too. You just don't see me recording them. But specifically, maybe certain ones like, say, visual novels, I like playing those, or a lot of Dojin games, a lot of Toho games, mostly that kind of stuff. This question is from Tsicar. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but have you ever used a DAW? I'm assuming you mean a digital audio workstation, because I don't know what else that could mean, but sorry, no, I haven't, so I don't really have anything to say about that. These questions are from KewlioMZX, who asks, which LPers do you enjoy watching? Well, it's kind of hard to think of all of them right now, but besides the ones featured on my channel, I would say my favorite is Proton John. I originally started watching him for his Mario ROM hacks, and eventually I just started watching all of his videos. He's also a part of the Runaway guys. I pretty much like everyone in that, and all the stuff that they do. There's Behold My Strength, who I originally found through his playthrough of Super Metroid Impossible. I really liked that for whatever reason, so I just started watching all of his stuff. He also recently came back from a pretty long break, so that's cool. Shady Paradox, he did really good videos for Myst. Really informative, put a lot of time and effort into those. Gemini Laser, he has really good playthroughs of the old Mega Man games. He shows off a lot of cool stuff that I didn't know about. Red Supre, and pretty much all the guys in that, like Slow Beef, the guy who pretty much pioneered video LPs. I recently started watching some of his older stuff, like the Metroid Prime series and Dead to Rights. BCS Buster, he did a really good playthrough of the 7th Saga. He did a solo walkthrough challenge. I thought he did a really good job with that. I'm also watching his Dragon Warrior 4 LP right now. There's also this group of guys called The Creatures. I wouldn't call them straight LPers. I mean, they just make a lot of videos. They do this for a living. They have contracts with Machinima and all that. I originally started watching Kutra and Nova with their Minecraft stuff, but I pretty much watch all of them now, and all the sorts of stuff that they do, and my favorite is actually Nova. Are there any in particular you tend to draw from, whether you realize it or not? I don't really know. Maybe more so early on, though I do try to avoid that. I might have a little from, say, Proton John, because he's pretty much the reason I decided to try making LPs, since he's my favorite, and he was the first one I think I ever saw. I know sometimes I might pull things from like the Angry Video Game Nerd, even though I try not to do it too much, even some things from like The Creatures. Specifically for LPs, my Zelda 2 LP, I recently watched BCS Buster's playthrough of the 7th Saga, and I kind of mimicked in the way he did his, like how I cut out all the random battles except for like the first time showing the enemies and just the cutoff points and skipping stuff around and just saving time and all that. But whatever, it's not necessarily a bad thing that, you know, I did it that way. But yeah, that's pretty much it. These are from Sin Corazon 666, who asks, is there something that you love but everyone else seems to hate with a passion? And don't worry, I'm not going to make fun of you for being a fan of Twilight. That's fine. I personally don't care about the series, but hey, if you do, that's fine. Everyone has their own interests. For me, I wouldn't say my friends hated it, but none of them originally cared about Toho. At least not until I met some of my friends at school who actually knew of it and played it. All my other friends, they just didn't care. The old Mario Party games, I used to play them all the time with my friends, but eventually they just got sick of it because 99% of the time, I would win. That's just how it worked out. The last time we played was several years ago when we played Mario Party 8 for the first time, and I ended up winning that, and they finally just said, fuck it, we're never going to play this game with you ever again. So, since then, I've never really played Mario Party since I don't have anyone to play with anymore. The Myst series, except for one of my friends who actually played it as well and actually liked it, all the other ones, they either just didn't care, or like one of them specifically, he used to give me a lot of crap about the series, about how like boring it was. You just go around clicking stuff and reading books, and it's just like, he just didn't get it. It just wasn't his thing, so it's like, whatever, you know. And last I would say is trackball mice. Until very recently, I was still using a trackball mouse, and one of my friends, he just couldn't believe it. He couldn't comprehend how I could still stand using them, because like he can't. He's got to have an optical mouse. But for me, it's just like, I don't know, I'm just still comfortable with it. I've just been using it for years, and I can use that or optical. I don't really care. I'm comfortable either way. But recently, the right mouse button finally died, so I've had to use switch out for a different mouse now. So that's kind of sucks. The second question is, when are you going to make another LP with your brother? Well, the last thing I put up was our little playthrough of Super Sprint, but it's pretty much just a matter of whenever we have the time, because like I always say, my brother is you know, busy, and he's always going to be busy, so it's hard to find the time to sit down and actually record stuff together. But rest assured, there will always be more down the line. You know, whenever we get the chance, we'll make some more stuff. We already have a few ideas for a couple of things we want to do next, so you'll see more somewhere down the line. And the third question is, you said that you love the Angry Video Game Nerd. What do you think about the Nostalgia Critic? I like them. I like both their videos. I even liked that the whole Angry Video Game Nerd versus the Nostalgia Critic, that like series they did where they were having like that big fight that ended in him actually like coming over to his house and they actually fought. It just showed that, you know, they're both just cool guys and they were just having fun with it. You watch like the behind the scenes stuff and all that. And then like the Nostalgia Critic's videos themselves, like I liked his review of Surf Ninjas. After I watched that, it actually made me want to go watch it again. It's just this really old movie it's just got some really bad things about it, but you know, I still thought it was funny. But yeah, I like the Nostalgia Critic. These next questions are by bigmackbygilette. Just a few. Favorite color? My favorite color now is blue. I used to be kind of torn between blue and green, or like a mixture of the two, or maybe an aqua color. And as a kid, I used to like sky blue more than anything else, but now it's just straight blue. And I think part of that's because of Mega Man and him being the Blue Bomber and all. Any interest in LPing newer console games? Interest, yes, but I do not have the ability to do so right now. I don't have any kind of capture device or game bridge or anything like that, which is why I stick to older stuff that's easy to emulate. But if I could do that in the future at some point, I mean, that would be great. I think out of all the games that I would want to do really badly is a playthrough of Resident Evil 4, because I love that game and I've played through it so many times. I know it like the back of my own hand, and I think that it would be really fun to do a playthrough of that if I could. Pirate or ninja? Now this is a question that I'm going to get crap no matter which way I go on this, so I'm just going to say pirate because I just like pirates now. I just like the idea of going around stealing things and saying "arr" all the time. And I also have a costume, a pirate costume for Halloween. But in my defense, as a kid, my brother and I, we dressed up as ninjas for Halloween for several years. So it's not like I don't like ninjas. If I just had to pick one right now, though, I would have to pick pirate. Last is cake, pie, or bacon. Again, I think this is another question that I'll get crap on no matter which one I pick. But if I had to choose, I would have to go with cake, but only if it's cheesecake. It's pretty much the only cake that I really like and that I could just eat a whole ton of. Whenever it's my birthday, we pretty much just get me cheesecake now, rather than just a regular cake, because I don't like having like, too much frosting and stuff like that. If it's like a homemade cake, it's not so bad, because you can just put on a light layer. But yeah, I gotta go with cheesecake on that one. This next question, if you can call it one, is from JPop4Life, better known as my brother from our 2-player LP stuff. He asks, can you get me a soda? Short answer, no, go fuck yourself. But for those of you who don't know, this kind of became a running gag for us years ago. What used to happen was I would stop by his room for whatever reason, and just before I would leave, he would ask me to go get him a soda because he was too lazy to get it up and get it himself. And for whatever dumb reason, most of the time I would, but sometimes I would tell him no, and then he would just whine like, get me a soda, or turn off my light, and all this other bullshit. And so it just became a running gag for us. So here, he's just being a dick, so let's just move on. This next one is from ArchEvil666, who's a friend of mine from outside of YouTube, and he asks, why did the chicken cross the road? Well, that's because I was chasing its ass with a shovel trying to hit it. Bonus points to those of you who get that reference. Obviously, this is just another joke question, and it seems like out of everyone I know from outside of YouTube, ZeshiKuro is the only one who actually could come up with a legitimate question, so let's move on. This next question is from Jazz for Your Soul, who asks, would you try Happy Wheels? I actually have tried it before, and it's really fun. I think it's a really cool idea, and there's a lot of freedom to it with like the level editor, and people have made some really cool stuff. It's freaking hilarious, and I mostly like watching Nova's videos for it. He even became so popular with it that the creator actually made a character, the Pogo Stick character, using his voice. It's not something I think I would ever actually record, but yes, I have tried it before, and I think it's really cool. And the final two questions are from UberPromo, who asks, will you be doing an LP for Psychonauts? Now the short answer is no, I don't have any plans on doing that right now, but the long answer has to do with the second question, which is, are you planning on LPing any newer games? Now, like I already explained before, I don't have any kind of capture card or game bridge or anything like that, so I can't do new console stuff. And when it comes to the PC, I have a really old computer I really need to upgrade, but because it's so old, I really can't run anything too new, which is why I stick to old games that I can emulate easily. So things like Left 4 Dead 2 are completely out because it like has trouble even just running it, let alone recording it at the same time. And I don't know what kind of requirements are needed for Psychonauts or how intensive it is. Even when it's simple requirements, playing it is one thing, playing it and being able to record at the same time really puts a strain on my computer depending on what it is, so a lot of games are just out. Certain games that are newer for the PC, maybe like indie type games, something like Aversion, it was something newer, but it was a very simple game, it wasn't hardware intensive, so it's only those kind of things that I could possibly do that's still newer. So I mean, things like that I'm open to suggestions for, but things like, again, Left 4 Dead 2 and all that, I can't simply do them, so that's that. Alright guys, well that's it. I want to thank everyone who asked questions, as well as the rest of my subscribers for sticking around, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know you guys have been waiting patiently for newer LP stuff, and I've just been really busy lately, but I'll get back to it, as soon as I can. So thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.